Tell me about where you were born, Tom.
I was born down in what we call Blind Street. And there's a small little story about Blind Street. Down in the, if you go straight down and you're heading out to Cahir Road, you know where that is, you do? Mm-hmm. The big gates, down there at the end of the, over the bridge.
Oh, yeah.
The first bridge there. If you go down there and turn to the right, you're in Blind Street. And there's a forge there, which is the funeral parlour now. And that was called Blind Street because the big gate across the road was where Colonel Richard Butler Charters lived in the before time, when England owned this place. England, before we got him Catholic emancipation or whatever they call it, when England owned this country. And I was born down there in that Lower Abbey Street. It's called Blind Street because the lady that lived in the place below couldn't stand the sight of the squalor in the street. Mm. So they built a wall up against it, the way she wouldn't be looking at it. That's called Blind Street. Oh, that's true. Well, I was born there in 1926, and do you know where the river is flowing below? Mm-hmm. Do you know where the river Suir is flowing?
Yeah.
Down there. There's a house down the right as you go down towards the old mill. My father had a pub there. We lived in there, a public house, and that was my, what you call him, Westminster Chimes. My father had a public house down there in you know the town you do, don't you? Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know where the old mill was?
Yeah.
And where the soil that was knocked down?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, my father had a public house there. There's a normal house there. And I was born in the one. He had that one in Blind Street, where I was born. He has that as a shebeen. Do you know what a shebeen is?
No.
Did you ever hear of a shebeen? No?
No.
A shebeen was a place where you could sell drink after hours. Have you been out? Mm-hmm. You had to pubs have to close at a certain time, mm-hmm. and they're not supposed to serve drink after that. But he had this house that's called the shebeen, because he could bring the stout and whiskey up to it. Are you with me now?
Yes. Yeah.
And well, I was still a young fella then, there.
Why were you so interested in music, Tom?
Well, in that time, that when I was coming from school, do you know where that monument is over there opposite the bus office, with all the names of the soldiers who died in World War I on it? The big monument, with the flowers on it.
Yeah.
There in Castle Street.
Castle Street. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know that, don't you? Mm-hmm. What was the question again?
How did you get so interested in music?
Oh yeah, when I was coming down home from school as a young fella, people in Cahir and many other towns didn't have radios. You'd have to have a fairly big business to afford a radio. So when I was coming down past that monument, coming home from school, my mother, who was Morrissey from New Inn, she was a great singer, lovely singer. She was a good heavy woman. And she would be singing The Old Bog Road, Teddy O'Neill, When Irish Eyes Are Smiling. Several songs like that, old type songs. And I learned them all, every one of them. And after then, if a song turned up, I would know it, because I only hear it once.
What was the first instrument you bought, Tom?
First instrument I got was a small melodeon. Do you know what a melodeon is? That's the keyboard that you play, draw and pull. You'll often see them on the television. Anyway, there was one, it's a small thing, and there was one scale on it. And you could play that one scale up and down. There were two basses here, I didn't know what they were for, but I was pulling the yoke anyway. And myself and a friend of mine, then, Larry Donohoe, poor fellow's dead now too. He lived in Blind Street. His father was, now you know how Blind Street is, you do.
Yeah.
His father was a harness maker there during the war. I mean, a proper harness maker that could make harnesses for horses that'd be pulling loads. Everything was done with horses in those times. And John Donohoe was his name. And he was originally from Burncourt. And but he was a first class harness maker. And anyway, his son Larry was a great friend of mine. We're going to Stephen's Day away after Christmas.
Yes. Yeah.
And we decided that we'd go out in the Rhine. You know this thing, it was a penny to bury the Rhine, the king of all birds, said Stephen's Day, he was cutting the furs. Up with the kettle and down with the pan and give us a penny to bury the Rhine. Did you ever hear that one?
Yeah, we did. Yes.
Yeah. Well, we went out anyhow, myself and Larry Donohoe. And I knew the 3 or 4 tunes on the yoke. And we were heading over the town, we were playing them on the bridge beyond where the silo was. Remember the silo? And took years to build it, and it took 20 minutes to knock it. I'm getting sidetracked. But over along there, we were playing a few tunes, and the people that we met on the bridge says, "Don't play anything there," they said, here in the street. No, no one will see you or hear you. Go into the pubs. We went into 2 or 3 pubs. We came home with a big box of coppers from Round Boys Day. And we were all delighted. We thought we were great fellas.
Could you tell us, Tom, about about your years in the circus?
I will. I'll try. It was after World War World War II, and there was no petrol to be got in Ireland for another couple of years. So we drove the circus around. It was started in Dunmanway, County Cork, Duffy Circus. And myself and a friend of mine in Tipperary, he's in at 42, he's dead now too. But we went down to Dunmanway, County Cork, and we did a week's rehearsal of some of the acts that they would have and the music for them. We'd play them. And well, both of us we were sight readers. You know, we could read any strange music. And with me, I had that queer thing, only hear it once, and I have it for good. But anyway, 133 horses on the road pulling the wagons because we had no petrol. And I was driving, we used to, all the way up along Nothing, Copper would be coming locally then. We used to Cashel, Cahir and Feathered, one after the other. And Cahir, when we'd be in Cashel, all horses now at this stage, but I was driving a woman, she was the tent master's wife. I was driving her wagon. And when we'd be along the road a bit, we'd be starting daylight, 6 o'clock in the morning. We might have 33 miles to go for the next place. We'll say we were leaving Cashel now. And this lady, she was the tent master's wife, but she was one of the Moynahans from Clonmel who were caterers. You never heard of them or remember them? They were caterers in Clonmel, her people. And I'd drive her wagon in the morning, and she'd make my breakfast, and she'd come out and she'd drive her 3 horses until I had finished my breakfast. So anyway, we were coming from Cashel, so the next town would be Cahir. And take hours, they're like with horses. And we were coming to, do you know where their bakery was in Cahir? Do you? If any of you remember the bakery?
Yeah,
Castle
Road.
Road,
Castle
isn't
Road,
it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Just gone closed down now. And I worked there for years. But anyway, this lady said to me, you come in now when we're passing the bakery. Said, they won't see you. Oh God, I says, no. I said, they'll be all out on the road, won't be any work done in the bakery today until we're all past. And as it happened, I drove the 3 horses in past the bakery. There was no one up in the bakery, they were all out on the road watching, because they knew we were coming, and they knew I was in it. And the next stop then was the Cahir Mills. And I was going with the lady that I married, Kitty O'Donnell from Golden, and she was working in the house next to the sawmills. She was doing housework for the people there. When I was passing there, I'd look and you could see the curtain open in the window. And I'll have another one now about that before I go leave it. She was the girl I married eventually. And oh yeah. I was up in Northern Ireland. I bought a comical card, and on it was when I was little and just a wee tot, my mammy took me out of my warm cot and sat me down on a cold pot and wee whether I could or not. Now that's the postcard I bought, and the little pot was in the card, and I trusted the whole from I was up somewhere in Northern Ireland, and she got it. She was working at Downs' over, outside the sawmills, and she had it for years. I don't know where it went. That was the thing, and that came to the post to Cahir from somewhere in Northern Ireland.
Did you see any rationing during the war?
I did indeed, saw rationing. We didn't have as much rationing down here as they had in Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland was England, you see, at that time. And I knew a fella called Mickey Conway. I believe he did. He was a friend of mine. He was played the clarinet as well. And how I met him first was we were in the circus up there. And when the matinee was over, I was coming out under the canvas with my clarinet in my hand, and this Mickey Conway was there with his teacher, with his clarinet, and that was years ago, and I got talking to him then, and we had great sport, and I used to meet him then every year when we'd go. I think I gave about 5 years at the circus, 5 summers if you like. And this Mickey Conway, he's dead now since. But oh yeah, he lived in Rainy Street in Maherafelt. He brought me down to meet his mother-in-law, and I was bringing 2 pounds of sugar across the border every time we passed. They had no sugar. We had sugar. We had sugar here in Ireland, as we call it, but in Northern Ireland they had no sugar. They were under the British rationing. And I was bringing 2 pounds of sugar every year for his mother. And that's, well, I was friends with him then for years and years, Mikey Conway. And poor old fellow, he did too.